Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rock and Roll podcast. Check out this record. My name is Frank, and with me is my Barenaked friend who always crafts his words the way that you, everyone, wish you did, Mark.
Hey, Frank, and a very special hi to Lee Ho there, listeners.
You can always check us out, because we know you are, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and of course, why don't you watch us on YouTube? Just go ahead and do it. That's it.
Yeah. Nothing creepy about that at all.
No.
But when you ask, can they listen to these new episodes or watch these handsome mugs on the YouTube? Great question. Thank you for asking. New episodes drop each and every Friday-ish for your listening and viewing podcast du jour.
Ooh, and if you're hearing this for the first time, congrats, everyone. You're not mad with us. Just wait. Welcome. We review records track by track, lots of musical discussions. We do spotlight episodes, which might even include some mysteries in the rock world. We've only scratched the surface. In fact, Mark, spoiler alert, I'm brewing up a controversial episode as we speak. As we speak.
I love a fresh brewed controversy, Frank. Now, you'll definitely want to check out our verse series where Frank and I duke it out on behalf of two bands or albums in the name of Total Stereo Domination. Why would you burp through my lovely opera domination?
It's the beer.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Frank's drinking tonight. It should be a wild one.
Oh, I'm a wild one. So when you're checking us out, be sure to check us out. It's on Instagram and our Facebook group. Hopefully these episodes will leave you wanting more of our musical goodness. And Mark, hey, it's Mark, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you have a record you want us to check out, of course, drop a comment while you're at it. Subscribe, like, rate, review. So I say this, Mark. I had intent with giving you this album. Not only is it 30-year anniversary of this debut album by the Barenaked Ladies, but Gordon is a mix, almost a mishmash, I love saying that word, of a variety of styles, which can cause some confusion. And I think it
certainly did.
I've been listening to this record, Mark, since the late 90s. And even now in 2022, I put 21 in the script. I'm lost at times as to what to think about it. And that's why we're here. We're going to try to make sense of it. I can't say we will, but we are. So, Mark, before I get into the back history, you opened up this can and expected something else, did you not?
I guess you could say that. Short of the two singles off of Stunt, those being 1 week and It's All Been Done. I have no idea what Barenaked Ladies even sounded like. I honestly I didn't. In my mind, it was maybe some weird imagination of amalgamation of Canadian pop rap rock. I didn't really know. So when this thing was over, when this thing was all over the place stylistically, I was just really you can tell I was genuinely dumbfounded. I understand why this album has kept you puzzled for so long. The question for me is, why did you keep listening? It's like when people say they read the Bible every day. It's not that long of a book. Just finish it.
Well, to answer your question, this is the first listen in a long time, and it's for this episode. So I had to do that. And with regards to reading, my retention issues can cause the smallest book, just so you know, to take forever to read.
Oh, me too.
So,
yeah. That's right.
I have this thing that just things don't connect, Yeah. So, Mark, let's talk about how we arrived at Gordon. And I'm not talking about Alf's real name, Gordon. I'm talking about
Coach Bombay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm talking about this album. Before the 1998 worldwide hit 1 week. There goes that late 90s again, man. Barenaked Ladies was formed in 1988 in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. They began as a duo. Ed Robertson and Stephen Page. They've known each other since grade 4, as it's stated in Canada, and we're going to talk about that soon. Now, after having an affinity for Peter Gabriel, they discovered that they had other similar tastes as well. they would assume themselves they would amuse themselves by being rock critics and inventing histories, even band names that didn't exist, such as Barenaked Ladies. The duo would continue to perform and made their first tape in 1989 called Buck Naked. Page then even invited brothers Jim and Andy Cregan to play bass and percussion. And in 1990, they met drummer Tyler Stewart. Now, Andy Cregan went on to be a foreign exchange student in South Africa, and he returned in 91 and began playing keyboards and some light percussion. The band's first commercial release in 91 actually was called The Yellow Tape, which was created for the band's first South by Southwest performance. It cost them $2,000 to $3,000 to make, and they sent them into labels, which they all refused, Mark.
No.
They began selling, though, more and more of them on stage via word of mouth, and people began asking for it at record stores. So fast forward to 92, the band signs with Sire Records, and this album, Gordon, of course, again, which makes me think of Alf's real name, was released in July. By August, it was already certified platinum.
That's insane.
That's insane. The band worked on the album in 10 to 12-day sessions. At night, it would commute home by skiing in the moonlight. So, Mark, let's pull up our pants, trim our nose hairs, and take on this challenge. Are you ready?
Yes, but I am not letting you anywhere near me with nose clippers again.
But it was such a fun time.
Yeah, well, fun for you. Also, like, skiing home at night by moonlight, like, come on, that's a Canadian fantasy. That's not real. They didn't do that.
It's that skiing they're referring to, or they're talking about other skiing?
I mean, is there another skiing? Riding the rails.
Riding the rails.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that explains a lot more.
Here we go. Track number 1, Hello City. It's a jazz opening that starts this tune, which is a lampoon to Halifax, Nova Scotia. These lyrics show how the band really doesn't like it there and prefer to be back home in Toronto. The middle 8 shows dual vocals, with Robertson singing lead with this jazzy lounge vibe. Mark, I'm here saying jazzy lounge stuff. Is this Murph and the Magic Tones, or is this really the Barenaked Ladies? What's going on here?
I mean, Murph and the Magic Tone have a few things the Barenaked Ladies don't. Mainly the main man, Triple D, Donald Duck Dunn. That said, I can see these guys in matching red suits with amps covered in thick red shag playing this in a Holiday Inn just north of the border. Lyrically, I like a little bit of what's doing here. You can feel the tension towards the city, but there's something of a longing to like it, like a want to like it. I don't know. It was interesting.
There you go. Well, track 2, Mark, is Enid. It's a big hit here in Canada, not here meaning where we're at, but just in Canada. Inspired by one Enid Eggers, who's a waitress at Spanky's Pub. Mark, we've both been there in New Brunswick, not New Jersey, Canada. Very popular, and there's some elements of Page's darkness that creeps in, which would give away actually future records. But Mark, do me and you really know each other anyways at the end of the day?
I know a few frozen goods at the local Carvel Creamery that would suggest that we do know each other, Frank. I'm really surprised this was a big hit where you are in Canada, Frank. But 92 was a weird year for music, I guess. This is a very interesting song, especially since you said it's about a waitress in a pub, and he says he's 15 in the song. Was that the drinking age in Canada back then? I don't know. I love the darkness that you pointed out. It's kind of interesting. There is some interesting darkness to some of these songs.
Right.
If you can get under like the pop comedy thing that's like just so thick on the surface, like imagine, if you will, like a Chicago deep dish pizza.
Oh. And
the comedy bullshit is like the cheese, and then the crust is like the serious part at the bottom. That's like the equivalency here.
Now I'd like a some Chicago deep dish pizza. Well, Mark, grade 9, or as we say in the States, 9th grade. I do have a Canadian colleague, and they said it's actually regional in Canada. Some places both are used. So
it sounds like they're phasing it out, which they should be.
Anyway, the nerd rock here is in full force. In fact, the intro has a ska vibe with the upstrokes on the guitar. Wrath of Khan, Mark's favorite Duran Duran are all mentioned to further get into the nerdiness. I mean, to me, it is kind of bringing a smile to my face. But Mark, what about you in grade 9? And oh yeah, sorry, what about the song?
I think this is the closest to what I was expecting when you told me we were covering a Barenaked Ladies album. It's a joke song, right? You get this ska vibe throughout, the brief metal break there somewhere in the middle, and what people would expect to be happening in the brain of a grade 9er. I don't know. Interesting that the grade 9 experience is kind of universal in the wackiness of it, for white people. That said, I'll never listen to this song ever again.
There you go. Track 4, Brian Wilson. From extreme lyrical content to another, we turn down a serious street here in this tune. Tackling Wilson, battle with depression and mental health issues, something that Paige would experience years later. A fascinating line, though, I must say, is Dr. Landy, tell me you're not just a pedagogue. Dr. Landy actually treated Brian Wilson during these times and was accused of brainwashing and drugging him along with isolation, hence the years spent in bed. The 300 pounds of Wilson is mentioned, along with the creative drought in relation to the Beach Boys record, Smiley Smile. I kind of like this song and how it relates to Brian Wilson and what he's going through. Mark, what's your thoughts on Brian Wilson here?
I really like the first verse. I think that Paige's singing and acoustic guitar work so well together. It's just when that pop beat comes in behind it, I start to just like put my hands up and kind of back away.
Yeah, it had you, and then it went boom.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we're gonna do all this shit that's just absolutely unnecessary. It would have been nice to see them keep this one serious to an extent, rather than this like faux calypso rock thing that they chose to do. Otherwise, I agree with you. Your assessment of these lyrics, really interesting look at depression, comparing it to one of pop music's most prolific writers.
Right.
It's really compelling. It's just that the music is an absolute turnoff. I just wish they hadn't done that.
Right.
Speaking of songs I wish they hadn't done.
Yeah, well, track 5, we go Be My Yoko Ono. So we go for the Beach Boys and the Beatles, specifically John and Yoko. This is the band's first single, which describes the attachment of Yoko to John or whomever the singer is singing to. Paige even defends Yoko on the general claim that she broke up the Beatles. It's fun, coming from the more serious Brian Wilson. Mark, will you be my Yoko Ono?
Frank, I believe that there's a local Carvel Creamery with some frozen goods that tells you that I already am. And just like me, the Barenaked Ladies aren't above a good pun, as this song points out, and basically just is one long running pun. It's clever. It's in a punny, stupid fucking way.
Punny.
Make it a good song. So
puns could only take you so far, right?
That's true.
Well, track 6, Wrap Your Arms Around Me. Robertson's on the lead here with a strict focus on the harmonies. This folk ditty gets a little dark with the I put my arms around your neck. The soft horns, listen, I could have done without as far, because that went really from like pop folk to adult contemporary. The horns just totally took that over the edge. This song, I have to be honest with you, I didn't pay much attention to 20 something years ago when I first listened to this on CD. It's interesting that I could do without the horn here. Mark, are you wrapping your arms around this song?
No. So other than the fact that this song is absolutely twice as long as it needs to be, this maybe yes, maybe this is my favorite song on the album. But again, if they cut the fucking thing in half, the heartache and the longing to make up with a lost partner, it feels genuine, even in the knowledge that he absolutely should not get back together with this person. I'm with you about the horns, but only
I don't get the horns at all, man.
In that this song should have been 2.5 minutes and it goes on for 4.5. You cut those last 2 minutes off and you lose the horns because they don't even come in until the song's fucking over 2.5. It's
There you go. Sentiment taken.
Mm-hmm.
Track 7, What a Good Boy. Pages on, you're welcome, on lead vocals here, talks about when kids are born, both boys and girls, and the pressures and expectations that come with being perfect. I do like the harmony on the tune and the buildup, but there's no edge. So I would have liked some sort of edge here with guitars. It's funny because Paige is the main singer, but sometimes I like the other singer, Robertson's voice, because it fully just doesn't go full range pop. That's my opinion. Mark?
Honestly, I've always found this dude's voice and singing style super annoying. That said, I can't tell the two of them apart. It's like how you don't like the way soul singers do those high trilly things. I always feel like his voice is just constantly slightly getting higher in pitch over and over and over.
I could see that.
With each line and verse, it drives me fucking nuts. I get that it's about, the burden of the expectations people put on you at birth and, the crosses we choose to carry. But I found this song just super uninteresting.
No edge at
nothing.
all.
I mean, 7 tracks in, there's nearly an edge to be found.
There you go. Well, track 8, Mark, the king of Bedside, Manor. And here's where the album throws me for a loop. Like we get this, I don't know, folky punky bit because it's strum fast about a king of Bedside Manor and the Playboy lifestyle, I'm assuming. The trading vocals really give the song distinction, but then the band adds a Styx reference with Mr. Roboto. At points, I thought I was watching a Looney Tunes cartoon because I had all like the peel out sound effects on here. Mark, are you the Tom Jones next door?
I'm more of the Chuck Jones next door. Man, when did they add all the Foley department to the band with all these cartoon boings tucked in here? So fucking annoying. I really hate this song. It feels like they pulled this out of Weird Al's trash can. I really starting to feel like this was the band's grade 9 alter ego, just lame as fuck.
9th grade. Yes, there you go. Well, Mark, 9, track 9, box set. More jazz tunes as we trip through an artist's discography and box set. The musician here has a new public image from a hit and is now describing their path via the compilation of their work. Oddly enough, years later, the band would go through this when One Week would become a hit in the late 90s. There's that time period again. Mark, I guess, what's in your box set? I don't know.
It's just a bunch of Motorhead bootlegs, honestly.
I figured too. I figured it would be.
Yeah, which I'd much rather be listening to than this song. It's just really irritating. The smooth jazz sound is fine enough. Frank finishes beer, but these tongue-in-cheek puns and harmonies feel like just so contrived and outright silly that I have no interest in wanting to take any of the subtext seriously. Sure, artists put out bloated box sets all the times as cash grabs, and that's shallow and lame, but so is this fucking song. Why on earth is this song nearly 5 minutes long also? Because my God, is this album just too fucking long? I can't stand it.
I was just thinking as I was down in the beer too, how we always play, like how I always say you can play the cliche game with Bon Jovi songs. You can almost play the pun game with these songs and have that be a drinking game, and probably you'll get really drunk. So, or track 10, I Love You. I love you, Mark, but the song is called I Love You. Very silly song. And Mark, adding food to a song is going to disqualify it for me right away. However, a song like this is what I think about when I think of the Barenaked Ladies, which maybe is what you were thinking about as well. If you take away the jazz, I don't know, Mark, what's up with the song here?
Yeah, I'm really hating like the comedy lounge band act thing that they're doing. I was expecting some witty lines to be, but to say I was expecting anything that was actually on this album is just a gross overstatement. This record just absolutely fucking stinks.
That's not even Mark's final words, everybody.
No. Oh my God. Well, I can't believe this. We're going to get there. If you go on Spotify, and I don't trust Spotify's top albums, right? I don't know what
I agree with you. I have no idea how that works.
How this makes their top 5 is absolutely out of my fucking mind. This thing, like, who is going, like, I know that you and I just went through this, but that's because you're punishing me for something I did.
Yes.
No idea who's actually listening to this record.
It could be backlash for the typo negative. I don't know.
Okay. Could be. That's fair.
Well, track 11, New Kid, and then in quotations or in brackets, I'm sorry, on the block. Yes, folks out there, a song about the new kids on the block. From their faces in every store to not singing the songs written to not being able to grow up, young girls scream and boys mock. It's about that famous Boston boy band. It's a simple song musically and funny. I'm not sure if it advances the record. I think it just adds more confusion. Mark, who is your favorite new kid on the block?
I only know that I don't like the Wahlbergs.
There you go.
and otherwise, I couldn't name any of the kids from the block. So, I don't know that this is a folk song either. I don't know what the fuck this is. I think it's just a bad pop song with an acoustic guitar. That's not right. It's a terrible pop song with bad guitars. It's so clever about pointing out like the absurdity of pop music. But again, it feels equally as shallow. And I guess they're going to say like, oh, we did that on purpose. But like, I don't know. You're supposed to have something reflect back when you point these things out and it's not working. Maybe that was the point. But honestly, I just feel like I'm just suffering from Barenaked Lady fatigue at this point. God, the fucking album is so long.
Well, track 12, and we're still a couple more tracks away. Yes, Mark, you can blame this one on me. Surprise, we go from New Kids on the Block to a Milli Vanilli reference, which again, I guess shows the comedic side of the band. It's another loungy, laid-back tune. The harmonies are there, but I feel like songs like this belong on another EP that's more cohesive, and this is probably like the second or third time ever that I'm listening to this song. So again, Mark, are you ready to blame me for this episode yet?
I'm blaming this on the Barenaked Ladies.
There you go.
Don't you worry. I feel like if they had turned this into a rock song, like it might have actually been a decent song. But this lounge act thing just has been beaten to death on this record by this point. And it sounds like nails on a chalkboard for me. Again, I just don't understand who this music is for stylistically. I don't know who picked this up and was like, yes, that's what I'm looking for in music. I'm all for taking chances, but we're well past taking chances here and just scraping the bottom of a dead horse here. I hate it.
Well, speaking of tracks that are hated, track 13, The Flag. It's another dark tune that uses a racing flag as its subject for content. The first half I didn't think was bad, but then I got lost at the end and I wanted it to end. Mark, your thoughts on the song?
So I think the subject of this song is domestic violence, and the flag is a metaphor for it being over, a relationship, a bout of violence. I'm with you that it's not a bad song up until the there goes a verse where like every line is just there goes this, there goes that, there goes that. It drove me absolutely insane. I just feel like they didn't know how to end this song, so they came up with like, just how many cliches can we throw at this piece of shit before it ends? Another song that should have been stopped well before the 2-minute mark. Yeah.
Well, track 14, If I Had $1 Million. This is the band's most popular, one of the most popular tunes in the frequent show closer. It's a silly tale with the vocals trading off from Robertson and Page. It's cute with the parlay back and forth from horses, emus, Picassos, tree fort, and craft dinner, which our friends to the north, I'm told, really like. My wife, going to high school in Canada, says that this was played frequently in the boarding school dorms. Yes, folks, boarding school. That's another episode topic. Mark, so if you had $1 million, would you buy any of these things? Because I can tell you right now, I wouldn't. So
yeah. Other than your love, Frank, the rest of this is just junk. who the fuck is this song for? Schoolgirls?
Right. There maybe. You go.
I don't get it, especially after the serious nature of the previous song. This cute little ditty just feels like weird and childish. Like, hey, here's a song for people who survive being beaten by their spouse, and this one's about childish views of how love works. It's just so off-putting to me. I'm so lost about this. Who or what this record is for.
Yeah, well, and that's not even the closer, because there's another track called Crazy, and in this closer you can almost hear Robertson and what he's going to be doing for future hit songs with the lyrics and the delivery style. I guess it's a folky, faster pace song, which I guess isn't bad, but was this even needed after If I Had $1 Million, Mark? I mean,
nothing says the album's over
like that.
every cliche about being crazy in love, Frank. We're back in the ninth grade, as you like to say here with these lyrics, and of course there's the fact that this song is over at 2.5 minutes, but stretches on for no good fucking reason for, you guessed it, another full 2 minutes of noodling around and just stealing minutes from my life that I literally just can't ever get back. God, that thing sucked.
There you go, Mark. Well, Thankfully, the good news is that now the album is over. And Mark, you could hit me with those final thoughts of yours, those famous final thoughts of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I were in the 9th grade and this came out and I wasn't listening to Black Sabbath, I would have found this more enjoyable. I feel like this is probably a record for 9th graders in 1992. But honestly, I hate this record. I don't know if you guys have noticed that yet. I want to be serious, it wants to be serious and it wants to be silly, literally at the same time, only committing to the lounge act vibe that just makes me wish I was watching the Blues Brothers and not listening to this jokey faux jazz pop thing that apparently was the only thing happening in Canada at the time, because there's no other way of explaining how this turd of a record did so well. It has a few moments of interesting lyrics, but I found it overall, the music, to be either annoying or just completely lackluster. I wrote 2 out of 10. I think I got to go lower. I think I got to go like 1.5 out of 10. Ooh. I'd rather listen to that new Foo Fighters album over this. For me, on this one, but I'd like to add, if you want to hear a band blend a style of jazz with something that resembles rock and roll, listen to the Mad Caddies beautifully blend Dixieland jazz and skate punk like they were meant to be together always. Frank?
You mentioned Foo Fighters, so would you take Dr. Feelgood or would you take this album?
Oh, Dr. Feelgood.
Oh, yeah. I know one listener that's going to be happy for that response.
I mean, you know what, though? He's going to be like, how dare you hate the Barenaked Ladies? You're a monster. And I'm going to be like, whatever.
Well, this album gives me internal conflict, and it's hard to express or put in words, but I'm going to try my best. First of all, this record's all over the place stylistically. I would love typically variety on an album, but it has to eventually make some sense. I feel like Gordon tries but never achieves that. There's common themes musically here with jazz tunes, pop rock tunes, folky tunes, but the continuity of them and how they're used as blocks to create an album is what gets me. I think there are some really fine examples of songwriting, like the Brian Wilson tune, although Page, they say, has a superior voice. I'm actually like Robertson's more. The harmonies I do enjoy because I do like harmonies in general, and I appreciate the percussion and the bass playing. The dark threaded lyrics into lighthearted music, I'm also a fan of. However, 3 of the 5 songs I could do without, or even have them broken up into smaller EPs to make a proper debut. I've had to lower my score too. So to me, this is like a 4 out of 10. So
I really don't think any of those songs qualify as folk, by the way. I think it's just them with an acoustic guitar, and there's so little else going on that it's hard to pinpoint it any other way.
I don't know. I might challenge you on that because I think there's a pop folk element, but like true folk, I agree. But I think there's maybe a pop folk side to it though. Some of those tunes.
I tell you all the time, I always try to find something good about a record, even if I don't like it. And the best thing about this album for me is just how forgettable it is.
There you go.
And I'm just looking forward to never listening to it again.
That's the beauty about what we do, my friend.
It sure is.
Well, so the game we're playing is interesting because I'm not gonna, and I hope no one takes this the wrong way, but it's really hard to find. Yeah, right, exactly. In-depth trivia on Canadian rock and roll, right? And a lot of them we already know. So we already know the bands that are rock and roll. So I had to take it a step further. And what I'm gonna do, Mark, is just list a couple of celebrities here, and you're gonna let me know if they're American or Canadian. Simple as that.
Oh, sure.
So you ready?
Hey.
You're born ready. All right.
Yahtzee.
Yeah, Yahtzee. So the actress Sandra Oh, is she American or Canadian?
Who's Sandra Oh? I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. So let's go with people that you know. Okay.
I just for shits and giggles, Canadian.
And she is. So good job,
Yes.
Mark. I know that. Keanu Reeves, is he American or Canadian?
I feel like he's Canadian. He's just so nice.
You're right.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take it a step further. What's your favorite thing that Keanu Reeves has ever done?
Well, I did have that dream one time where I sat next to Keanu Reeves on a park bench. I thought he was really good in that.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm not a big John Wick guy. I know everybody loves John Wick. I just think it's just Keanu Reeves now. Like he's just being himself. So it's either Bill and Ted or The Matrix. Like the first Bill and Ted or The Matrix.
And when you say Matrix, you're kind of like first Matrix.
Oh, I also mean just the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Me too. Okay.
What was the right answer?
Yeah. He's Canadian.
Oh no, I meant movie, but okay.
Oh yeah, that too. All right. Friend star Matthew Perry. Mark, is he Canadian or is he American?
He's such a terrible looking person. And I mean, like, I don't mean that he's ugly. I mean, he just looks like he's a terrible person. He's American.
So it's one of those weird ones because he's both, because he was born in Massachusetts, but raised in Canada.
So that makes him American.
Yeah, that makes him American. Yeah. There you go. You're funny. This is an easy one, Mark. I know you're going to know. Is Ryan Reynolds American or Canadian?
Canada can keep him.
And what's your favorite thing that Ryan Reynolds has ever done?
Van Wilder. I don't know. He's always been Ryan Reynolds in everything. Like, he's never been an actor.
Right.
He plays himself. So
there you go. Okay, we'll take Van Wilder.
Yeah. I should say, so that people can learn to hate me more, I don't think Deadpool's a good movie.
That's the
or
first
an interesting character.
The first and the second one.
Yeah, either. I haven't seen the second one, so I'm just gonna take your word on it.
I don't think I've seen the second one either. So I was just equating it to the first one.
Okay.
Mark, is Jim Carrey American or Canadian?
Jim Carrey is Canadian.
That's right. And what is your favorite acting performance by Jim Carrey?
You know what? It's always going to be Fire Marshal Bill. Yeah, it's always going to be Fire Marshal Bill.
I'm going to make a suggestion if anybody has ever heard of or seen a movie called The Prestige. And it's a serious film, and he acts seriously in it. It came out, I think, like in 2004, and he really does well in that movie. So
I also like him in the Andy Kaufman.
Oh yeah, Man on the Moon. Man in the Moon. Yeah. Okay.
There's a documentary about him preparing to play that role and what a fucking monster he was.
Yes.
By actually becoming Andy Kaufman. Pretty interesting to watch. And people just learn to hate him.
What was Kaufman's alter ego? Tony Clifton. How he would do that too.
He did the full Megillah.
Mark, is Seth Rogen Canadian or American?
Ooh. I want to guess American. Is he American?
Well, currently he's dual, but he was born in Vancouver.
That would make him Canadian. Yeah.
And what what has he done that to like is your favorite, or do you have a favorite thing that he's done?
I mean, I know he was in Fear Factor, and I know he's got that podcast, but honestly, I have no idea that he was in anything else.
There you go.
I always wonder why he's famous. I have no idea.
Like, I think Christmas, all those movies with Steve Carell and Paul Rudd and all that, right?
Was he in those? I don't even remember.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
All right. Here's I don't know if this is going to be tough or not, but it's on the list. Is Elon Musk Canadian or American?
I feel like he's weird Canadian.
So he's originally from South Africa, but he moved from South Africa to Canada to Queen's University, and actually he holds citizenship in South Africa, Canada, and the US. So
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's paying taxes here, so who cares?
Right, exactly. Interesting guy. That's all I got to say.
Sure.
The actor Ryan Gosling, is he Canadian or American?
Ryan, I mean, it sounds like a Canadian name. I just know that he was married to someone else famous. I have no idea. That's another person. I have no understanding of why they're famous. I'm going to say Canadian.
You're right. He is.
Yeah.
There you go.
And what a Canadian name.
He's married to Eva Mendes, the actress.
Oh, Ava Mendes.
Ava. Sorry, did I say Eva?
I don't know what she's famous for either.
There you go. Actually, I don't know what she's famous for either.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Mark, last one.
Ooh.
Michael Buble.
I once heard or saw him on Regis and Kelly where he admitted to getting a hand job.
Yes, I remember that episode.
At a massage parlor.
Yes.
I mean, that feels like an American thing to say, but I'm going to guess he's Canadian.
He is.
Yeah.
Good job, pal.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Whatever his Christmas songs come on, Theana, my youngest, can't stand him for some reason. So
I love her.
She goes wild. She's like, I can't stand him. All right, Mark. Well, that's that. I would love to know, even though I know already, what do you have in store for me next week?
Yeah, well, listeners of this old show here know what big fans of the better looking Elvis you and I are. I am speaking, of course, of Mr. Costello.
Yes.
His 32nd and latest studio album, A Boy Named If, released just a week before the release of this podcast. Our first new album of the new year, Frank. You ready to get down with A Boy Named If?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny because we're such huge fans and we've never covered him on an episode, and what fitting way to do it than his latest album, which gives us a real good excuse to sit and dive into it and listen to it. And I'm so anxious to do so. I'm ready, Mark. Sounds like fun. I can't wait for this new year, new season, this new record. Thank you everyone for listening out there. You know, I want you to make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, and of course, as everyone knows, be safe out there.
That's right. You know, Frank and I love it when you make it to the end of the bottle. I mean, episode.
Yes.
Makes me feel all dressed and manly and not bare naked or a lady. But hey, I'm watching The Detectives, so
yes.
Why don't you say it with me? Oh my. Oh hell yes. Oh. Bye.
Ooh.
It's been 1 week since I listened to that song. Fuck that band, I was never going back.
It's me and Grey Down, baby. It's me and Grey Down. We just made a country all of a sudden.
What a trash album. And what's Gordon about anyways? Do they mention Gordon? Who the fuck is Gordon?
I still think it's about Alf.
I mean, an Alf concept album would be more entertaining.